I was married to my wife for 11 years, together for 14. Long enough that our lives stopped feeling like two separate things and started feeling like one shared system. Same routines, same friends, same finances, same assumptions about the future. We weren't flashy, but people trusted us. They saw us as steady, dependable. That mattered to her more than I realized. Looking back, I think the betrayal only worked because it didn't look like betrayal at first. It looked like care. She didn't pull away. She leaned in. She checked on me constantly, asked how I was feeling, told me I'd been working too hard, told me she worried I wasn't resting enough. At the time, I thought I was lucky. Lots of people complain their spouses stopped noticing them after a decade. Mine seemed more attentive than ever. Then other people started noticing me too. Friends asked if I was okay. My sister asked if work was overwhelming me. Her parents started inviting me over just to talk. Even my coworkers made small comments about stress and burnout. When I asked my wife why everyone suddenly seemed concerned, she smiled and said, "They just care about you." The first time she told me I didn't remember something important, I laughed. She said we'd talked about a dinner and I'd agreed to go. I told her I genuinely didn't remember that conversation. She looked confused, then concerned, then said maybe I'd just been tired. It happened again a few weeks later. She said I'd promised to handle something and then forgotten. Again, I apologized even though I was sure it hadn't happened. Then she said we'd argued. She described it calmly, said I'd been upset late at night, said I raised my voice, said I seemed overwhelmed and didn't remember it the next day. I told her that didn't sound like me. She didn't argue. She just said, very softly, "That's what scares me." After that, reality started slipping in small ways. She'd say we'd already discussed things I had no memory of. She'd remind me of decisions I didn't remember agreeing to. When I questioned it, she looked hurt, like I was accusing her of lying. She said denial was common when people were under stress. She suggested therapy, gently, lovingly, just to talk, just to make sure everything was okay. I went because at that point I trusted her more than my own certainty. I didn't know how to explain to a therapist that my wife was slowly teaching everyone, including me, that I was unreliable, that every disagreement ended with me questioning my own memory instead of the situation, that she never yelled, never accused, never pushed. She just expressed concern. The affair came later, or maybe it came first. I still don't know which is worse. I found out because of a shared device we'd never bothered to separate. A message preview popped up with a name I didn't recognize and a familiarity that made my stomach drop. When I opened it, there was no mistaking what it was. It wasn't flirtation. It was a relationship. When I confronted her, she cried immediately. She said it wasn't planned, that she felt lonely, that she'd been carrying the emotional burden of my episodes for so long that she broke. She said she didn't feel safe leaving me outright, that she was afraid of how I'd react. That was the first time I realized she was narrating my own life back to me in a way that made me sound dangerous. The divorce happened quickly, almost efficiently. She moved out first, took what she wanted, left behind what she didn't, told people it was mutual, told them she still cared about me, told them she just needed peace. She never accused me outright. She didn't have to. The groundwork had already been laid. I didn't fight her. I didn't defend myself. I didn't try to set the record straight. I documented. I saved messages, emails, calendar entries, phone logs, bank statements, screenshots where she contradicted herself weeks apart, notes from therapy sessions where her version of events subtly shifted. I didn't twist anything or add commentary. I just organized it chronologically. What I found wasn't just an affair. It was preparation. For over a year, she'd been telling people I forgot things, that I was emotionally unpredictable, that she felt like she was managing me. Each comment was small, reasonable, framed as concern. By the time she left, the story already made sense. I let the divorce finalize exactly the way she wanted. Clean, quiet, no accusations. Then I stepped back and let the story exist without me correcting it. Update: 6 months later, she remarried. Same man, faster than people expected, but not fast enough to raise alarms. People whispered, but no one challenged it. The narrative had already been accepted. Another 6 months after that, I got a message from him. It was careful, polite, nervous. He asked if I'd ever had memory lapses during arguments. That single question told me everything. I didn't warn him. I didn't accuse her. I didn't tell him what to do. I sent him a folder. No commentary, no opinions, just dates, messages, patterns. Her own words repeated across years. He left her within a month. I thought that was where it ended. It wasn't. A few months later, she started messaging me. First, it was neutral. She asked how I was doing, said she hoped I was well. Then the tone shifted. She said things weren't going well, that she felt disoriented, that she felt like she was losing her grip. She said her new husband had started saying she forgot conversations, that she promised things she didn't remember, that she was emotionally unpredictable. He suggested therapy. He told people he was worried about her. The language was almost identical. She said she felt like she was going crazy. Then she sent the message that stopped me cold. I finally understand what you were going through. She said she was hurt, that she felt betrayed, that she never thought it could happen to her, that now she saw how patient I'd been, how steady, how safe. She said she'd made the biggest mistake of her life. She asked if we could talk, asked if there was any chance of starting over, said I was the best man she'd ever known, and she hadn't realized it until she lost me. I read that message more times than I want to admit. Then I replied once. I said, "I'm sorry you're going through this. I know how destabilizing it feels, but I can't be the person who rescues you from something you taught someone else to do." She didn't reply after that. The irony isn't lost on me. The story she built around me eventually turned inward and consumed her too. The difference is that when it happened to me, I had no one validating my reality. I do now, and sometimes I wonder how many people only recognize manipulation once they hear their own words being used against them. Thank you for watching. Check out my channel for more stories like this. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Midnight Tea Stories.